Welcome to another edition of the Sports War. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. Here we go. Is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Port, and first time, long time, once again, the Barnes and Michael show. Shout out to everybody joining us live, whether it's Instagram Live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, as well as TikTok, Michael.
Yes, TikTok today has been insane. What's going on, everybody in TikTok land? You guys have been here all morning setting up the show. And especially I want to give a special shout out to Pixels, who has been in the show literally since 5 a.m. Barnes.
That's unbelievable. I've been trying to one up Josh B and Kev.
He is. He already is trying to one them up. He's got some work to do though.
Yeah, absolutely. So we really do appreciate that, and we really appreciate all the comments already. What do we got?
All right, we're gonna get to the comments now. We have, starting off from the get-go, Kev Do saying, let's go! We want all the smoke. Cowboys are still bummed with the worst fan base. Bernie kick rocks.
Wow. A lot of people get riled up to hate on the Cowboys, and I think it's just because I'm a Jets fan. Giants fans are big on that, but I don't know. For me, it doesn't. I don't have any ill will there, honestly. It's the Patriots we don't like. That's definitely public enemy number one.
And then we have Josh B. Why is my microphone? Oh, there we go. Then we have Josh B saying, let's go. Welcome back. Let's have a day. Hashtag TCA. Hashtag rep DTV. Hashtag rep the sports port. Anthony's coming in. Kevin, Josh, kick rocks. I think that's referring to the 3-0.
Yeah. Well. So 0-3 for them. 2-1 for us.
Embarrassing.
Yeah. Hey, but we picked up what a no. I guess that's actually 2 games, isn't it? 2-1, 0-3, right?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. I mean, so it's something, Michael. It's something.
And then we have Josh B, the Prez, saying, shout out to me, Michael, for holding down the day yesterday. 3 exclamation points and 2 muscle emojis, Barnes.
Absolutely. Michael, hardest working man in
Real
America.
quick, were you surprised?
No, because
really?
It's you. I mean, you're up for anything. You'll go live at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
honestly.
no,
we've seen it. We've seen it before. After what was that? What movie was that? Renee was riled up to go live.
No, she wasn't. Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Mm-hmm.
Tony was tight. Awesome. That's awesome. Thanks, Josh. You were there with me the whole time. Barefoot? ?
What do we know what that means? Is that supposed to mean just by yourself?
Maybe.
And the math is Tony talking about me with the
hoodie. Wow, Nuriz.
Pump for this hoodie, by the way.
Do you know Nuriz?
No, I don't.
Nuriz, welcome.
Welcome to the fam.
Let's go. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. That hoodie looks amazing. I thought it was a jersey.
Yeah, this is honestly one of my favorite gifts that I got. Shout out my sister and her husband Michael. You can't beat this official NHL store. But the thing is, I mean, the question is, are we going to get Tony to the Garden so I could use this?
I think you will.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to have to go myself, Tony. So let's go, bud.
I don't think you're gonna have to.
All right, I'm ready.
Then he says the math, Tony. You already addressed that. Danny V says, "Oh, baby, Barnes is back. Let's go." Mike doing his thing. Let's go. Waiting for some bars. LOL. Kev kick rocks. Anthony chimes in saying, "LOL."
Just an LOL. That's a little weak out of Anthony material.
It is.
Though.
It is. Because he's a little down in the dumps. Because he's not here right now. Oh, TikTok is like that? ? I would have been up. Okay, time to be on there more. Haha. Shout out to Mike. Anthony says that's kind of like I'll chime in now that everyone else said it type of thing.
Right.
Didn't hear anything from him yesterday about good job. Way to do it.
And a little tight that I called him out. But by the way, because I didn't ask him. Are we gonna get him back tomorrow, Michael?
He said he's gonna be walking in here.
Oh, he's gonna be walking in here.
Yeah,
okay. Like
he
you
says
gallivanting.
Look at him, and I'm quoting him, folks. Okay, potty mouth. I'm driving fuck faces.
I don't
literally texted Mike. I don't know. I didn't see it.
Oh, he texted you that. That's
he was texting me, but he was texting me about like he'd be like Tucker. He said Tucker Carlson.
Oh my god.
It wasn't like good job, Mike. You know.
Yeah.
Way to host binge buddies.
Yeah, no.
I didn't even get. I can't believe that. You know.
No, but that's
all right.
typical.
That's Tony. I expect
typical.
that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And in TikTok world, Pixel says "Merry Late Christmas," and I think he's referring to you, Barnes, because he's new. You guys are new, and I think Barnes feels the
Merry
same way.
Christmas.
Yeah,
Merry Christmas. Tony's not coming back, so I guess we're gonna have to hold down the fort.
I mean, fine. I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
if that's what he wants to do.
Listen, we only want people who want to be here.
Yes, exactly.
Oh man, but yeah, definitely
picking up my Kings jersey, then leaving. Sayonara.
Yeah, so I guess Tony is going to be a fan of the Kings now. Good for him. Maybe we'll move to Los Angeles too, right? Just to follow the team.
Wow. Yo, we just got gifted another thing on TikTok. Holy moly, thank you. You guys are really awesome. I'm digging the show.
Let's go.
Let's go. Come on YouTube if you want to pause. Join us on YouTube. You get to see it in a totally different way. I think it's fun.
You can get your comments up there.
Oh yeah, yep. But I do love you guys in here also.
Of course.
Stay where you want.
But yeah, definitely missed everybody over the break. So much went on over the break. So I just kind of want to catch up, see where we are, Michael. If we could go first to the world of the National Football League.
He wants Jefferson, climbs the ladder. Oh my goodness! Justin Jefferson, the catch of his life.
Burrow fires, intercepted, picked off at a pick six. Minka Fitzpatrick, an absolute ball hawk.
Niners twist up front and get to Tagovailoa. Bosa again. Mahomes escaping on the move, stops, spins, flips it forward for the touchdown.
Stop it.
Aaron Jones. Oh, what a tackle. Quincy Williams with a pile driver.
Right. All right. So just kind of wanted to, because I didn't get a chance since we had all the games, last week for week 16. Didn't get to talk about them other than obviously the game on Thursday. So kind of just running quickly over here. I thought the week was full of surprises. A lot of things that you assumed went the opposite way. One thing that, me and Matt were in on, the TCA, unfortunately, had this as their pick. They went Bengals, but we knew Steelers. We talked about it. It didn't make sense. And sure enough, 34-11 over the Bengals. So I did think they're going to win just because of the home field advantage, just because of, what it is for a inexperienced quarterback like Jake Browning to play in Pittsburgh. It's tough. It's just not easy. And we saw that, as they killed the Bengals 34-11, 3 picks for Browning. So that was definitely just a surprise, just how comfortable Browning looked. But I think we've seen it with DeVito, some of these other filling quarterbacks, Josh Dobbs, for instance. You have your run, but then most of the time, unless you are the rare example, it comes to an end. And we saw it with the Bengals. So that, did a number on their playoff chances. We'll get to the picture in a second. But a tough loss for them. The Steelers stay alive at 8-7, and obviously just need to win one of the 2 remaining games or have a tie to continue that streak of Mike Tomlin's. A lot of chirps though about him potentially leaving the team, maybe traded in the offseason. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I get the fact that there hasn't been much to speak of in terms of postseason success or even being in the postseason in quite some time. But at the same time, they're an organization that's all about continuity. You think about Noel, Cowher, and Tomlin. So they don't make these changes. And it's like, who are you going to get to replace them? I think the biggest thing this season was quarterback. That's why they haven't been better. I think the defense is good, and I think they're good at drafting and developing players. So I don't think he's going to go anywhere. But we'll obviously watch that as a storyline. So both teams are at 8-7, kind of in that muddled mess there in the AFC at the back end for those wildcard spots. Speaking of teams in those wildcard spots, the Bills have done a number 3 straight wins now, but struggled way more than I think anybody expected. 24-22 over the Chargers. Credit to the Chargers. They started out this game well. Obviously, we're not able to win it late. The Bills get that walk-off field goal by Bass at the end there to win 24-22. So this is a game we even said, oh my God, is this going to be 50-0? It wasn't. But obviously at the end of the day, the Bills, go to 9-6. Everybody talks about them as a dangerous out. I think the whole thing is, like we've talked about all year, the talent is there. It's just going to be about that consistency, in the playoffs. You can't have let up performances like this where, you're not playing your game the entire duration of the 60 minutes. So they go to 9-6. Obviously, that's a big win for them. The Chargers, obviously, interim coach right now, playing Easton Stick. Not really, playing for much. You think, they would want to improve their draft position. And for the Bills, obviously, they want to keep winning here. Patriots this week, obviously, they lost to them earlier in the year. You'd expect them to rebound and win. So we'll have to see there. Obviously, Patriots, we'll get to, but they had a big win themselves this week. I would still expect Buffalo to win. It'll be interesting to see too, that game, against Miami there. If Miami's locked in at that point, if they're going to play, but things obviously looking pretty good just from the fact that the Bills went from, 6-6 to 9-6 and have a pretty good hold on a playoff spot in the AFC. So that was Saturday. And then obviously Christmas Eve, we had the majority of the games this weekend. One thing I have to say, I just completely whiffed on the Falcons 29-10 over the Colts. Michael Pittman seemed like he was going to play. Last second, there's a setback. So he doesn't go, but you had Jonathan Taylor back. So there really wasn't an excuse, but Gardner Minshew struggled, as well as did Taylor. I know you can point that on the offensive line,
your boy,
but only 2.4 yards per carry. Did have a rushing touchdown on his return from that thumb surgery. But Gardner's 17 incompletions, 1 interception, but hard to blame him too much just from you look at who he's throwing to. His leading receivers, top 3, Kylan Granson, Will Mallory, and Josh Downs. And yes, I haven't heard of any of those players. So, you understand that. And for the Falcons, listen, it's been another mediocre year. We talked about how we think Arthur Smith's going to go. But I think one thing that's going to stand out from looking at this season, not to say that they were a team that was going to win, double-digit games or anything, but I think a big mistake not going with Heineke this year over Desmond Ridder. Clearly, he's not cut off for the NFL. And Heineke is nothing special, but the same thing, so much more competent. And I think one other thing, too, and they featured him more in this game, I think the Falcons will regret not giving more touches to Bijan Robinson. He only had 12 carries in this one, but, was good for 6 yards a pop, 72 yards. Also caught 7 passes out of the backfield. So moving forward, with whoever the coach is, whoever the quarterback is, you'd expect them to feature Bijan more in 2024. So that was disappointing. Falcons, I guess technically are alive at 7-8, and then the Colts fall back to 8-7, but a chance to win that division with Jacksonville losing, which we'll get to. The Seahawks 20-17 over the Titans. Struggled early. We're down 10-3 at half, but 2 fourth quarter touchdowns get the job done. And there was some stat about how they become the first team with different quarterbacks, fourth quarter, score a touchdown, final drive to win the game. Obviously doing it last week on Monday Night Football with Drew Lock. This time they do it with Geno Smith. So Seattle going to 8-7, winning their last 2 games when they need to stay alive in this playoff race. Titans have been out of it for a while. Ryan Tannehill came back. Henry had an okay game, but we know a lot of pieces are going to be moved out of Tennessee. So they're going to look pretty different next year. The Lions win their first division title since 1993. Pretty impressive. 30-24 over Minnesota. This was, again, a back-and-forth game, but the interceptions doing the Vikings. Nick Mullins throwing 4 picks. So the Lions defense stepping up big. We've obviously seen them struggle the last month or so. And, again, doing a good job running the ball. That tandem of Gibbs and Montgomery, clearly one of the best tandems in the league. They ran for 143 yards. So we know Dan Campbell He loves to run the football, being a former tight end himself, all the blocking that he did over the years. And then you have, Amon St. Brown, another great year. He had 106 yards receiving and a touchdown. And look at the season, already over 1,200 yards, approaching 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns, and over 100 receptions. So talk about a great draft pick, 4th round pick a couple of years ago. He's really paid dividends. Jared Goff, we've seen him have some struggles this year. Obviously, after a hot start, kind of got messed up middle of the season. But if you look at these numbers, he's only 16 yards short of 4,000 yards, has 27 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, QBR approaching 60. So he's been pretty solid. But the whole thing is, what are you going to do in the playoffs? We talked about how we expect them to struggle in the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see if they're turning it on at the right time after this win, and how they'll play over the final 2 weeks of the season. The Jets, win, of course.
Before you go to the Jets,
yes,
I think it's a good time to transition to the comments real quick.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
Matthew Ryan, Zach Wilson would be one more cap space to be a true winner. Matthew Ryan again, at Anthony, you're leaving the show. Matthew Gabriel, ooh. Matthew Gabriel, BARNS, that Rangers jersey sweater is sick.
Love it. I might wear it every day, honestly.
Josh Perez, Tony the Kings fan, laughing emojis 3 times. Matthew Ryan 2 T's. Tony is upset that the Jets won't have Zach Wilson, and so is Michael. Well, he's in concussion protocol, so I think it's
amazing though how he has the energy to still go with Zach. Talk about Zach Wilson. I was done a month ago.
I know, me too. I think it's crazy.
Connection wise, are we okay?
I know it's
seems
lagging,
right?
Seems
a little laggy. I don't know if anybody could chime in on that.
It looks a little laggy.
Yeah, a little pixelated.
We'll figure it out. We're gonna talk to the technicians back here.
Facebook looks okay though.
Okay,
I'm looking on Facebook. I'll check YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just analyzing.
No, it might be. Yeah, I think it's just for whatever reason that.
It's from here to there.
Yeah. So we're fine.
You know what? I think it might be just too much for my laptop to handle.
Oh, that could be.
Which is sad. But anyway.
Yeah.
Haha, Gardner, your boy, Tony says. This is at you, Barnes, by the way. I'm leaving because of you, Matt Ryan, Tony says.
Oh, Tony. That's just one of those things I don't even need to respond to. Honestly.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Right off the shoulder.
Yeah, exactly. At Anthony, come on, you can't leave the show. Matthew Ryan also adds, at Anthony, I know you're tight because of me being right on Zach Wilson.
There's definitely some of that. One of the rare accurate points out of Matthew Ryan.
And our sports show says, yo, what's up? He adds, how's everyone's Christmas? Shout out to the company. And Josh Prez says, Nathan.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And we had a great Christmas, and we are ready, Michael,
for the new year.
2024. Optimism is in the air.
It is. What's up, Josh? Matthew Ryan at Josh the Prez. Tony is leaving because of me.
Matthew, come on. You think you're a little bigger of a deal than you are? I have to say. We love hearing from you, but come on. Like, you really think Tony's leaving because of you?
I hope he's being sarcastic, which I think he is.
I hope so.
YouTube looks good, Matthew says. So it's definitely
this. It's
yeah.
Because I checked up Facebook.
That's kind of beat.
Yeah.
Connection is good for me on YouTube. Wow, look at all the confirmations.
Yeah.
Get in 24. Matthew says, get in here. And then we got the goat emojis and
rocket ships. Let's go. We appreciate that. We appreciate all these comments. And it's so funny. So it's Christmas Eve. I'm at my parents' house. And they're like, oh, you want to put on the games? And like the Lions and the Vikings were on. And then, obviously the Jets, local broadcast on. They're like, oh, you're going to put on the Jets? I mean, I honestly didn't want to. I was like, I don't even really want to. This other game will be better. And then sure enough, they get out to this huge lead, leave 27-7 at half. And then end up blowing it in the second half, down 1. But then they hit I believe a 54-yard field goal to win it, which was a big surprise for me. And that was
I really don't
courtesy
care.
of Legatron. Yeah, exactly. And it's been like that for a while. And of course, the whole thing, I just feel like we've seen this so many times. Obviously, the Rams game sticks out, where we lost Trevor Lawrence. So, it is kind of tough from that perspective. But at the same time, I think we've seen time and time again. I mean, there's a lot of busts that are picked high in the draft. So really, and we've seen some guys that were undrafted later in the draft really succeed. So it's really not what pick you have. It's just what you do with it. So you just got to have confidence that no matter where they're picking, they're going to pick the right guy, the safest pick. That's what I want to see. And the guy who's going to have the biggest impact next year. And it is just so tough. It's just so tough though. Knowing, okay, Rodgers will be back. Yes, we'll rebuild the offensive line. Yes, Breece Hall looked like a complete stud in this game. 32 touches. We haven't seen that in quite some time out of a Jet running back. And it's like, where's it been all season? The Jake Asman was talking about this morning, filling in for DNR. But I don't know how you don't get him more involved up to this point. Obviously, this was a great game. 95 on the ground, 2 scores, and then 12 receptions out of the backfield, almost 100 yards receiving. So you think about him next year. Think about Garrett Wilson, who this week should go over 1,000 yards receiving. With Rodgers, yes, that'll work. You need a number 2 wide receiver. I'm sure between free agency and the draft, they'll attack that. But it's just so hard to have confidence at this point that that's going to be able to be put together. It just seems like something always comes in the way. But obviously, long time till we get to week 1 of the 2024 NFL season. So until then, we'll have to think about free agency, draft, this, that. But hopefully this doesn't end up costing us, a player in the draft. But I think at this point, we know who our building blocks are, and it's just about putting the right pieces around them. And obviously Jets will be in Cleveland for the last Thursday night football game of the season tomorrow. Commanders go to 4-11. Obviously Brissett played pretty good bringing them back. But like we said, Ron Rivera, pretty much a lame duck at this point. No way with a new ownership group led by Josh Harris, Magic Johnson in the mix as well, that they're going to bring him back. They're going to want one of those new offensive innovators.
Rex Ryan,
it'll be
apparently
interesting to see. No way. Rex
That's
Ryan.
What I heard.
No, he's honestly.
I'm just joking. I'm joking.
No. But in all seriousness, I've never seen a coach go to TV and embarrass himself more than Rex Ryan. I mean, it's really, really bad. I don't know, like before last couple of years, did you kind of still like him, or were you sour about the way things ended and you're never really that big of a fan?
Never a fan, really.
But this has made it worse, no? I mean, it's so bad. The fake teeth, the ridiculous takes.
Dude, the takes.
Yeah. Just like the overconfidence, like he's actually accomplished something. And how about this? Like his big claim to fame is that 2000s Ravens defense. He wasn't even the defensive coordinator.
Embarrassing.
So, he didn't do anything with the Jets. Sure, they had the 2 AFC championship games, but at the end of the day,
they didn't win.
When you're right there, you couldn't do it. You blew leads. So I've never had somebody, honestly, where it's like, I just really, really don't want to hear anything that they say. Usually I'm pretty, because I understand it's not always easy to be an analyst, but Rex Ryan, please, like, we really don't want to see any more of you. Let's just put it that way. Jordan Love and the Packers hang on in Carolina, 33-30. A field goal in the waning minutes there. Definitely was closer than you think it needed to be. Packers went into the half with a 23-10 lead. But a scoreless third quarter got the Panthers back in this, and then they allowed 2 touchdowns in the fourth. But that field goal seals the deal for the Packers as they hold on to those faint playoff hopes at 7-8. I thought a pretty solid game, though, for Jordan Love. And even though, despite losing at home to Tampa last week, I think he played well then. 2 touchdowns, didn't turn it over, only sacked once, QBR at 90. I mean, hard to beat that. Aaron Jones, 127 yards on the ground. So his best game of the season. Obviously we know he missed a lot of time. They ran for 162 on the ground. Jordan Love and AJ Dillon with rushing touchdowns. They were again without Christian Watson, but Kraft and Dobbs and Melton, carrying the load here. Dobbs and Wicks with touchdowns. So they were able to put this one together. And I think overall, obviously, you want to win, you want to win more games. You hope to be a little better than 7-8, but you look at the body of work here. 27 touchdowns for Jordan Love. Obviously, 2 games to play, 11 interceptions, 35-87 with the yardage. I think stepping in for Rodgers, he's done as good as you could have hoped. So I'm confident about him moving forward. I think Christian Watson, as long as he can stay on the field, he's going to be a prime target for them. So I look for them to keep Matt LaFleur, despite possibly, 2 losing seasons and 2 non-playoff seasons in a row. keep the continuity and see what Jordan Love can do for you playing on his 5th-year option next year. Moving along here, Joe Flacco leading the Browns to their 10th victory of the season. Who would have thought to say that before the season started? He threw for 368, 3 touchdowns, did have the 2 picks, but how about Amari Cooper, franchise record 265 receiving yards to lead the Browns to a 36-22 win. It's unbelievable what Flacco's done when he thought maybe his career was over. Just a real step up on all measures there. Good job by Kevin Stefanski, all the quarterbacks that have had to play this season. The fact that they have 10 wins, most likely 11, obviously, you don't want to assume anything, but also too, how they've went to this aerial attack after being such a ground and pound team. Really impressive. You feel bad for DeMeco Ryans, but you have CJ Stroud playing like one of the best quarterbacks all season long. And then for him to miss these last couple of games and to be stuck with Davis Mills and Case Keenum, it's a completely different ball game. And then losing Tank Dell hurt. That's where the Texans are at 8-7. Nevertheless, I think a lot to be happy about. The fact too that, you messed up the draft last year and you still ended up with the best quarterback in the draft, winning that final game of the season. Everything worked out well. Things just keep getting worse for Jacksonville. Blown out in Tampa, 30-12. Trevor Lawrence leaving late with a shoulder injury, I guess an AC joint. Optimism about him playing this week, but he's been so banked up. The Jags have looked terrible. And Baker Mayfield, once again, 4 straight wins for the Bucs here. So from 4-7 to 8-7, with a chance to win the division with a win over the Saints this week. What a job. And it's unfortunate, though. It's really, I think Baker deserves a lot of credit here, but Todd Bowles at the helm of this, the year after Brady, in a year too, where you thought there's no way that Bowles is going to make it the next season, especially with a chance to have a home playoff game here, maybe upset somebody. I know not seed-wise, but spread-wise in that wild card round. It's looking like he's going to hang around. And really a shocking collapse for Jacksonville. I know they've had injuries. And Lawrence, I think, hasn't taken that leap like they would hope, but it's tough when you have these injuries. So it'll be interesting to see if they can hang on to win this division, and just giving everybody an update here on Baker. 35-98 this year, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. So about as good as they could have hoped, pretty comparable to what Tom Brady did for them last year. Maybe he convinces Mike Evans to stick around. A lot of thought was, since they didn't do the extension before the year, he was as good as gone in free agency. We'll have to see what happens there. We thought the Cardinals could catch the Bears napping, but once again, the Bears, after really a poor start to this year, have really rallied. Justin Fields, and obviously still wide assumptions, despite him playing decently well here down the stretch, that he's not going to be in the picture because of those high draft picks last year. He wins another game here. The Bears go to 6-9, Cardinals 3-12. Fields, nothing crazy, but he did almost rush for 100 yards, which is impressive. Rushing touchdown, had a passing touchdown, 1 pick, and only sacked once. So a good rapport with Cole Kmet in this one. 4 receptions, 107 yards. DJ Moore had a quiet game here, only 3 catches for 18 yards, but he's had chemistry with him all season. And nevertheless, even if the whole plan is to get rid of Justin Fields, I think he's played well enough where you're going to get a decent return for him. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up next year, and also what they do with Matt Eberflus. Again, a coach that you felt like was as good as gone, and he still might be, just because the fact too, if they do what everyone expects and take that quarterback, number 1 overall, that they're going to want a new offensive coordinator in there, and just a new offensive-minded head coach as well. Eberflus, obviously the former D coordinator for the Colts, so I would expect him to be gone. There were some comments about the Cowboys here. They lose a nail biter to the Dolphins, 22-20. A field goal by Sanders in the final seconds, and just another tough road defeat for the Cowboys. So, just once again, just not being able to do it on the road. And kind of interesting, the Dolphins, the offense has, compared to, when they were hanging 70 on the Broncos, earlier in the year, it's kind of waned down a little bit. Tua was just under 300 yards, had a touchdown. Tyreek Hill had 99 yards receiving as well as 9 catches. Dak didn't play bad, 253, 2 touchdowns, no picks, was sacked 4 times, but the running game has hurt them. We were talking about this last night. Just what a decision to go with Tony Pollard as a full-time back. They clearly need somebody else, and you would imagine that they'll address that in free agency. Not to say that he's been bad, but I think he's shown that he can't be a 250 carry guy. He needs the timeshare with a competent back. So it'll be interesting to see if they, pick somebody up. But disappointing for Dallas. A lot of people in the beginning of the year, especially saying, oh, maybe Super Bowl with Dallas. But it kind of seems like, it's shaping up to be the Dallas team that we've seen down the stretch and into the playoffs. But, we'll see what happens over these final 2 weeks. I mentioned the Patriots with the surprise win. Chad Ryland, who had missed an extra point, missed a field goal earlier in this game. The Patriots, virtue of 20 points in the third quarter, and, holding the Broncos to 0 in the third, 16 in the fourth. And the Broncos had the ball, tie game, minute and change left, but could not get a drive going. Give the ball back to New England. They get a big play that puts them in field goal range. They win this one. So hurting their draft stock, which of course all of our, us Jets fans love. But the Broncos, a tough defeat here. Pretty much ending any hope of the playoffs for them. And it just was really, really shocking. But the Patriots, I guess some energy under Zappe, but I feel like it's just a general thing, that we see with these teams that are so bad in the first half, second half of the year, nobody takes them seriously. And they're able to capitalize. And that's what they did in this one. They win 26-23. That was the final game of Christmas Eve. We also had 3 games Christmas Day. Surprise of the day, the Raiders 20-14 over the Chiefs. So they hang on to their faint playoff hopes here. The Chiefs just in complete disarray. Really just shocking how poor this offense has played all season. The defense has carried them. They probably wouldn't even be 9-6 if they didn't have the defense that they do. And I think the big part is Mahomes just doesn't trust any of his receivers. They're not getting open. He had 17 incompletions. So, you look, this is a situation where, they're going to win the division most likely, but who knows what's going to happen in the postseason. You always expect them to turn it on. But I mean, it's just been so many, games here where they haven't. So it is a surprise to me. That's for sure. So, congratulations to Antonio Pierce. He's been 4-3 as the interim coach. But just really seems to have the guys playing hard, and the fact that you could win in Arrowhead with your quarterback going 9-21 for 62 yards. And then you miss, Josh Jacobs, who led the league in rushing last year, and Zamir White's able to run for 145. Pretty impressive stuff there. So that was very surprising. Eagles got off to a big lead against the Giants, and then hung on late, sort of break that 3-game losing streak to go to 11-4 here. But I think, there's still some cause for concern. Just because the fact, your secondary, it seems like, that's attackable. We saw the Giants do that once Tyrod Taylor came in for Tommy DeVito, gave them a lift here. I think the thing for the Eagles is, they got to focus on running the football. Swift was so big earlier in the year. They haven't used him much late. This game, he had 92 yards in the score. So I would establish a run, get the play action going. So, it'll be interesting to see what the Eagles do here down the stretch and who's going to win. That NFC East division. Swift next game, we'll get to 1,000 yards, 988, but he averages 4.6 yards a carry. So, I think it will be smart smart to use him more, open up that play action with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith down the field. And one more surprise here before we're done. The Ravens handily over the Niners, 33-19. Purdy left this game late with a stinger after throwing 4 interceptions. So that was very surprising. Somebody who was really in the driver's seat for the MVP, playing so poor. And the Ravens, I've continued to doubt them all season, and they're 12-3 here. People are saying Lamar's the MVP favorite. I mean, I think he's had a good year, but I don't know. I've always thought like your stat line needs to jump off the page. And I just don't think it does. I think he's got 19 touchdowns, 7 rushing touchdowns. Maybe he'll get 1,000 yards rushing. He'll probably be just under, could be almost 10 rushing touchdowns, but I don't know. I just think passing wise, I mean, those are numbers that we see from an 0-3 quarterback, but obviously the numbers don't matter. The wins do. And right now, I mean, the Ravens in the driver's seat in the AFC. I'm not concerned about the Niners. I know this was a disappointing loss, but I think they'll regroup. They'll look at the tape and they'll see what the Ravens did, to put them into the situation. So that was, the holiday football recap here. Obviously a lot of games, no more bye weeks here. We got the Jets game tomorrow. And just looking here, playoff picture wise, if we're talking in terms of the AFC to start, obviously the Ravens in the 1 seed right now. And then you got Miami 2 at 11-4. And then, the Chiefs, are right now the 3 seed, the Jags, the 4 seed, Cleveland, the 5 seed. It's just going to be interesting to see, what happens playoff picture wise. Your wild cards right now are Buffalo, Indy, and Cleveland. So it'll be interesting to see if they hang on to those spots. Obviously, you have Houston, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati in the mix, and then obviously the Raiders and Broncos with faint playoff hopes. When you look at the NFC here, you have the Niners. They're in the top spot at 11-4. And they've clinched their division. The Eagles have clinched a playoff spot at 11-4. The Lions have clinched their division at 11-4, and then Dallas has clinched a playoff spot at 10-5. Right now, if the season ended today, Bucs would host Dallas, which would make for an interesting playoff game. You'd also have the Lions hosting the Rams, which would be fascinating. Stafford's return to Detroit. And then you'd have the Eagles hosting the Seahawks, so the rematch from Monday Night Football. And then lurking in the background here, you got the Vikings, the Falcons, and the Packers, and the Saints all at 7-8. But you feel like they are done. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm excited for these final 2 weeks. But what a weekend of football it was. A lot of surprises. And I can't wait to see the storylines for these next 2 weeks of the season. I can't believe it's almost time for the playoffs.
It's crazy.
It is. But Michael, a little mix up here. Let's go to the world of the National Basketball Association.
I knew it when you said mix up.
The Bulls LeBron James at the buzzer. He banks in the 3, and the Lakers win the game.
All right, and we're back. Hold on, let me come to me, folks. So tell me if you can hear me, by the way, chat. Is the audio good? Yeah, baby. NBA talk, Barnes went over the whole NFL. I didn't want to interrupt him, but we did that yesterday. And I'm just being silly because he went obviously more in depth, and I don't do that. I just run through the numbers. But you know what I could do? I could go to the comments. Matthew says that, and shout out to TikTok land. Appreciate you tuning in here. Dallas equals choke artists. We got good morning, gentlemen. Shout out TCA and DTV. Let's go. 3 exclamation points. Knicks with a nice Xmas win. Brunson is him. Play OKC tonight. Rangers versus Washington should be a good game tonight. I love the jersey, Brian. Robert Parker. Hot
Let's
Johnny
go,
says.
Johnny.
Yeah, he's pumped. Matthew says NFL playoffs will be pretty solid, boys.
Solid 80.
Lonnie says, let's go. Good morning, guys. 1 exclamation point. I hope everyone had a great Christmas. Blessings to all. Let's go Knicks, exclamation point. Let's go Islanders, exclamation point. That Monday Night Football game was a showing. The flock of Ravens don't play. NFC team killers. Hashtag rep the company. Hashtag rep DTV. Morning chat world. It's so nuts. It's playoff time. The rigged NBA. Love that. Yeah, Mike. Totally good, bro. Because I was joking around saying that we went over the NFL yesterday, Barnes.
Uh-huh.
But obviously I was just joking because you go over it more in depth.
Oh, yeah. I had to get my stuff out there at the end of the day. Had to do it. Was dying to talk to everybody about that. And I'm actually kind of curious too. We're gonna do a little NBA here now, but just in the comments, I'm just curious everybody's perspective. I know it seems a little irresponsible. We've seen them pass the test time and time again, but what are people's thoughts about the Ravens in the playoffs? I still think they're not going to reach the Super Bowl and may not even reach the AFC Championship game. I think we're going to see either Miami, Kansas City, or Buffalo. And I know Kansas City, believe me, it doesn't look good, but I think one of those three teams is going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. I'm kind of curious what everybody else thinks. So if you could give me your perspective on that, it would definitely be interesting to see what we hear from the fans. And one thing I do want to start out with, Michael, last night that was kind of crazy. And I know you're just like, I mean, what are you even talking about here? But the Grizzlies game last night, somebody had posted, one of those like Cody Brown type of pick things. Take the total over 230. And you look at this game, the first quarter only had 43 points. At halftime, we were under 100 total, but somehow this thing goes to overtime because the Grizzlies outscore the Pelicans 36-23, so a 13-point advantage. And I'm looking at this on my phone, not even watching. It seemed like it had over 2 points short of going over. And then there was like some time put back on the clock. They hit a 3-pointer late and covered by one. That was one of the more crazy covers that I've ever seen. And really what a disappointing effort for the Pelicans. And it just seems like this whole core of Zion and Brandon Ingram and McCollum is just not going to work. And all the questions about Zion's weight, all the call outs that he's received. Is it just me, Michael, or is it a matter of time before the band is broken up here in New Orleans?
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think it's going to last that long. We'll see what happens, though. I really don't know. I couldn't tell you.
But do you still have that belief that like kind of like my McDavid thing to the Rangers with Zion?
Yeah, I mean, who else are they going to get? You know what I mean?
Is he? I haven't paid that close attention. Is he really that big right now? Out of shape, or do you think fat suit Harden?
He called him probably. Get his advice.
And the Grizzlies obviously a mess. All the games that they missed Ja with. He's played pretty well since he came back. They're 10-19. So it'll be interesting to see if they work their way back in the mix. I mean, it is the NBA, so anything could happen. Speaking of anything could happen, how about the Pistons breaking the record for consecutive losses last night, losing to the Nets here 118-112, despite Cade Cunningham having 41 points, 9 rebounds. Kind of crazy. They start the season out 2-1 and then lose 27 games in a row. Monty Williams, obviously the former Sun coach there, I thought he would bring some level of stability. But for whatever reason, the Pistons, I mean, you really, really think about it, they've really struggled for any type of continuity since the Rip Hamilton, the Chauncey Billups days. Mm-hmm. And they have talent there. And I think Cade's going to be really good. But I mean, what do you think it is, Michael? Is it poor ownership?
Yeah. It's gotta be.
Yeah. It's crazy to think how long is this going to go on? They've already set the record.
Cade Cunningham had 41, 9 and 5. What else can he do?
Right. Exactly. Killian Hayes missed this one. Knox is
I know,
in
I
town.
see that.
Knox is in town. It's 3 points. They got Bogdanovich, who had 23. But it'll be interesting too. I do think Monty Williams is a good coach. I know the Suns didn't get over the hump, but interesting to see if he survives the season like this. I mean, maybe it's different in the second half, but clearly going about as poor as you could imagine. Speaking of having a poor year, and I know you've made the call, you think they're just going for a top pick again. The Spurs losing again, 4-25. And I know it doesn't seem as much as a surprise to you, but I swear I just really, and I know we're dealing with something similar with Belichick in New England right now, but I never expected Pop to really, hit this type of rock bottom. Obviously it worked out that they got Wemby. And maybe they'll get another top pick this year. But I just expected things to be coming together quicker. But clearly they haven't. I mean, 4-25. I mean, that's just something that really, pops off the page for me. Some of the other games here, the Bulls beat the Hawks, but both teams under 500 here. Bulls 118-113. How about Drummond? You almost thought he was out of the league. We had the Mount Drummond jokes a couple years ago, 24-25 in this one. The Pacers over the Rockets, 123-117. Halliburton's been unbelievable for them. The T-Wolves have been one of the best teams in the league, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you look at the numbers, he's had 30 points, I think, in every game since the in-season tournament. And we knew before this year he was going to be one of the stars in this league, and he clearly is. The numbers this year are unbelievable. And you think about that Thunder and the T-Wolves matchup there. I mean, that could be a matchup that we see in the Western Conference. Shai, 31, 5.7, 6.4, only 25 years old. You would think, Michael, in MVPs in his future, no?
Oh, yeah. He's great.
I mean, not even crazy to think that the Thunder could win it all this year. Honestly, with all that young talent, the energy, they got a nice core there.
No, they really do. They really do.
But I feel like you almost like the Timberwolves better just because of your guy, Edwards.
Well, Edwards we love, but I think the team of OKC is better.
Better, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if we get that matchup in the playoffs. The Kings, who have had a pretty good year, obviously returned to the playoffs last year, almost beat the Warriors, but lose a disappointing one to the Blazers, obviously, who have struggled, without Dame. Fox had 43, though, and he remains one of the top forces in this league. And it's kind of interesting with the Kings. You would expect another return to the playoffs here, but it's just going to be interesting to see. Do they need to add another piece to kind of take the next step? Fox and Sabonis are great. The Clippers without Kawhi handle the Hornets 113-104. Your boy Jimmy,
Danny V,
leading
Zion
the way with 29.
Needs Jenny Craig.
Wow. What
Pistons
about
stink. Cunningham is a baller, though.
Ozempic, no?
Yeah. Cunningham is a baller. I actually got to see Cunningham play in high school. It was awesome.
I mean, yeah, he's crazy.
Anthony
honestly.
Edwards is a problem. You know what's a problem, Josh? How many rookie cards we have of him? That's a problem.
It is a problem.
No, it really is insane.
It is a problem. Yeah. So
they're all right here.
That's of course, interesting stuff. Clippers, it's funny. I feel like I almost look at them, like the Cowboys or even like the Ravens to an extent. Like, yes, looks pretty good record wise. But you just would think injuries and just not being able to step up when it matters. Until they break that trajectory, that's what I'm going to expect, out of them. It's kind of interesting, kind of, I guess, wide open. I mean, I'm sure, there's a couple teams, that you kind of stand out, kind of ahead of the pack here. Of course, the defending champion Nuggets, the Thunder, the Timberwolves, Boston, Milwaukee, and really what the year Philadelphia has had, having to trade Harden away. Everyone expected them to kind of be ass. And I mean, Joel Embiid saying not up in here, 20-9, Michael. I mean, who knows, right? I mean, it's funny because we do see this a lot. You have players, they have better teams, they don't get the job done, they lose guys. You expect them to take a step back and then they have winning the whole thing. So it wouldn't be crazy
like Dirk,
if they end up making the finals this year.
Yeah, no, I could see it.
And then you get rid of the best, jinx that there is in Doc Rivers too. I think you can't underestimate that. No.
Yeah, no. I mean, if they win, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. And then, Milwaukee and Boston are so talented. So it'll be interesting. But if you had to go Houdini right now, who's winning the title?
You know, it's tough because Dame doesn't look good, right?
No.
He does not.
He kind of recovered a little bit at Christmas against the Knicks, but
He
just
did,
the
but
shooting's inconsistent. No, when I'm watching that game, I've actually watched the last 2 games because I had a prop with him.
Jalen's good.
And no, but do you notice that Dame, like, at least half the time it just stands there in the corner?
Yeah,
Because I think it's just he's not used to not having the ball in his hands all the time. And that kind of messes him up.
Yeah.
And the shot has been touch and go.
It's tough, dude. And that's tough. I don't know if Milwaukee get it. I'm gonna go with Philly, or maybe Miami's nice too.
Miami, wow.
Yeah, but no, we'll do Philly.
How about Spoelstra's never lost on Christmas?
That's amazing.
But you're gonna say Philly wins the whole thing?
Yes.
Wow, Embiid
Tobias
has his like Giannis year that he had a couple years ago.
Yes.
Tobias,
Yes, exactly.
So
Maxey.
And then you think like the Warriors and the Suns figure it out? 10th and 11th in the West right now.
It's sad with the first of all, I saw Brandon Jennings saying that Kevin Durant should leave the Suns. If
there's anybody,
he says they're cursed. He says the Suns are cursed.
If there's anybody though that's messed up their career that with so much talent, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody do it more than Kevin Durant. I mean, it's really unbelievable. Just like I don't know why do things just keep going wrong?
I don't know. But it's almost karma that
Yeah.
he went to Golden State, shouldn't have finished in OKC, should have finished the job.
Yeah,
Then left.
yeah.
It's embarrassing. That was embarrassing for
It is.
up 3-1
Yeah,
to lose, to join the team that beats you.
yeah,
It's unforgivable. The basketball gods do not like that, and clearly it's showing.
yeah.
But what was the question? Oh, Suns. If anyone can, it's the Warriors. I
Yeah.
feel so bad for Clay. Have you seen him?
Yeah, everybody's talking. And was it Shaq or Barkley? I
What'd
think
they say?
Barkley said that he's going to be like delivering him his DoorDash or something. Like that's a little ridiculous.
Dude, relax.
Yeah.
He's just, I think,
But come on. Like, you really like Barkley, though?
not that dude, at least he's not woke.
No, I know.
Like,
but it's
at least he's
is
not
he funny,
woke.
though, in all seriousness? I know I'm very critical of people trying to be funny, but is he actually funny?
It's like 1 to 10. But that's not funny. I know. I get it. But I'm just saying, I like that he's not woke, and I like that he's not a Freemason like Shaq.
Well, and that's the tough part about Shaq, because obviously, I mean, hard not to respect his basketball career, but I just like the whole,
I
like,
know.
you know what I mean? It's
I'll
like,
put you in your favorite.
right. It's like just a little, I don't know. It's not enjoyable.
He's
to
a
me.
Freemason. I'm not about him.
Danny V. Bernie saying KD is a horrible general manager.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen it in all.
How about
sports.
Luka dropping 50 and
I did see
15 on
that.
the Suns?
I did see that, but then the Kyrie curse on the stretch, you think, or no?
No, they won.
No, but I'm talking about like,
Oh, no. That's Mark Cuban and Luka
well,
rebuttaling the curse.
and the Alderson family.
And the Alderson. You love that.
Do you really think they're gonna move him from Dallas though? That's the rumor.
I think they're gonna.
But has a team ever, like in the modern era, left a city like Dallas?
A booming city too.
Like it doesn't, just because the casino, the gambling, like they can't resist. But I think that would be a mistake. But it seems like it's already happening.
Yeah, I feel like it's done.
Yeah, so that's interesting. But yeah, good to catch up on the NBA here. And we'll keep an eye on it as the season goes on. But we do have the return tonight, Michael, of the National Hockey League.
Speed, here he comes. McDavid shoots, top shelf, he scores! Captain with the overtime winner! That's the middle, That's a world-class hit right here. Tomsky stepping, rink wide! Made the full split save!
Are you kidding me?
Turn, side of the net, between the legs, and they score! Filthy! David Pasternak, the silver trophy to the Golden Knights!
All right. So, I was texting Corey, who's always tuned in to our show, Instagram Live, always rallied for that. But he was saying It feels like it's been 3 months since we've had some hockey, and we have quite the slate tonight. Just looking at this here, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 games in the National Hockey League. So almost the entire league, Michael, back in action.
50 minutes talking about what we were talking about. We should have been talking about hockey.
Wow, you're actually tight, huh? Like,
I mean, I don't know.
wow. No. Wait, elaborate here.
I mean, I feel like we wasted time on the NBA.
Wasted time.
Yeah, you
Well,
know, because the NHL is like, you guys haven't talked about it, and this should have been the juice.
Oh, it is. There's juice. Everybody's jacked up. Josh B's like getting out of his seat, like rather about this Rangers season, the jersey.
They are pumped about that.
Hot take, Johnny is fired up too. Because the Rangers, I mean, they've been such a fun team to watch. 23, 8-1. Just really impressive stuff. And especially I have to say, like heading into this offseason, heading into the preseason, preseason in which they didn't play well. Obviously, you go with the new coach. The way the playoffs went last year, losing to the Devils in the postseason, I didn't feel great. And Tony's telling me, relax, the coaching. And I didn't buy it. It seemed like it was just one of those things like the Zach Wilson excuse. That's what it seemed like for me. Like, oh, the coach will turn it around. It's not the players. And here we are. And the Rangers, best record, I believe, in the entire league, 40. Okay, so second in points, best record in the Eastern Conference. Canucks, which is crazy that they have 49 points, but the Rangers with 47. And I know the last time out there, he struggled, but Jonathan Quick as the backup goalie has been a revelation. But also, Igor's hung in there when times have been tough. And I expect him to continue to get better. The Rangers have dealt with injuries as well. And it's just always this next up mentality, next man up mentality here. And I do think it's really impressive because I think it was pretty clear, going into the postseason last year. I mean, Mika Zibanejad was your top weapon. And this year, I mean, such a slow start. He's recovered a little bit here. Decent with assists. I mean, he's second on the team in points with 33. But you expected more than 13 goals. But the thing is, it's like he's kind of flip-flop with Artemi Panarin. And obviously you have to give credit to Peter Laviolette here. 18 goals, 26 assists, good for 44 points. He's been clutch. He's been big all season long. Chris Kreider has been solid as well. 17 goals, good for second on the team. So he's got 30 points, which is good for third. Tony's favorite player, Vincent Trocheck, 8 goals, 20 assists. The face-offs, Tony. We know he's riled, for him, of course. And they've done all of this, like I said, with the injuries. Foxy's missed some time. Heedle's missed a lot of time. We know Kakko's out for the year. Igor even missed some time. So I just really think they're so deep. They're so well coached. And I guess you would say it's a good thing just because you're not going to be playing, the inferior teams in the playoffs. You're going to be playing the league's best. The fact that they've beaten the Bruins twice. The fact that the Maple Leafs, they got shellacked at home. They're able to rebound and beat them on the road. I just think they've definitely had some impressive wins this season. So I'm really excited to watch them down the stretch. And it starts at home against the Capitals tonight. So I would imagine huge crowd at the Garden. The fact too, the weekend between Christmas and New Year's, a lot of people off from work, a lot of people not having to get up tomorrow, Michael, the drinking, Jack Dempsey.
I didn't, it's funny. I feel like, tell me if I'm wrong, Brian, but have you noticed that over the years?
Yep.
Like it's gotten like, before like everything was open the next day. Everyone was working the next day.
Yeah.
And now it's like everyone's taking the week off.
Yeah.
We're in a fucking recession. Excuse my French.
Yeah.
And people are taking off.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah, I mean, it's just
this is not the same America I grew up in.
But you know what it is? It's just like with everything accelerates, Michael. You know what I mean? It's like this sake, like we always feel like the constant need for change, even though stuff works. Let's change it. No matter what we're talking
I know,
about.
it's stupid. We're sitting in a room that has a bunch of stuff like that.
And listen, I mean, my thought is, you want to say
What's going on over there, Brian?
No,
What is it?
strings? I'm a little confused at how this is supposed to be. Okay. Actually, I do have it down now. Okay. All right. We got it, guys. Everybody's good.
Because I know everybody's wondering. So we had to.
But at least we're good.
Yes.
At least we're good. But I just feel like, all right, you want to say day after Christmas, fine. But then after that, it's like, I mean, there's still 3 days left in the week.
And
but
in the year.
Yeah. But nobody
wants to finish next year. New Year's resolutions. That's the problem. And then they fall off.
Yeah.
That's why we're here and other people aren't.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's definitely true.
It's sad Tony's not here anymore with us, too.
Yeah, right.
You know?
And then he's a Kings fan. He's moving to Los
crazy.
Angeles.
Yeah, with Matt Ryan.
Yeah, like that's kind of weird.
It
right?
is very, very odd.
Yeah, but hey, we keep on chugging along, just like the New York Rangers here, and going up against the Capitals team, which is 17-9. But I think there's been a lot of thought around the league here that there's going to be some regression to the mean. Just an older team, and yes, Dylan Strome has done well. Ovechkin, hasn't done as great this year. Darcy's playing decent net, and Lindgren has kind of been like their Jonathan Quick as the backup, 7-3. But I just look at this game, a rested Rangers team, a fired up Garden. They're gonna win this game. I really have no doubt in my mind they're gonna win this game. And obviously, neither does Vegas, minus 225. The total is set at 6.5. I'm kind of thinking under the total. I'm thinking a very strong defensive performance of the Rangers. I think a 4-1. And I'm going to say, we're going to see Mika continue that scoring surge with 2 goals and an assist, and a Temi Panarin, a goal and 2 assists. And I think, Igor, give him like a 32 out of 33 in net. And the Rangers picking up an Eastern Conference best 24th victory of the season. I can't wait to watch this one. Puck drop, 7:00 tonight.
Real quick, we have Anthony himself. We got him out of the woodworks laughing, and he says, "Yes, I'm moving with Matt Ryan."
Yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me, right? So it'll be good to get Tony back with the picks tomorrow. But you know what? Since Tony's not here, I'll kind of just run down, kind of like a hockey frenzy, I guess you could say, Michael. I
love that.
So, first game here, Senators at Leafs. I know there's going to be some surprises tonight. Clearly, it's not like, all the favorites are going to win. But this one, I have a tough time. The Senators, the fired coach, minus 170, I don't think is too bad for Toronto here. All the talent they have, I know it's about putting it together, and obviously they failed to do that completely up until this point since they've signed Tavares, all of that. But I think there's a chance that they make a run this year. Rangers probably will stand in their way. But a team like the Senators, I think they take care of business. Total set at 7.5. I think it's going to go under that. I don't know if the Senators are going to score that much. I'm going to say the Leafs are going to win this one 5-1. So take the under, take the Leafs. Tampa and the Panthers. Tampa's been kind of a back and forth team, as the Panthers have. Reinhart, surprisingly, leading in points over Tkachuk. But I'm going to say, give me the upset on the road. I think the Lightning have just been inconsistent. Obviously, Vasilevsky missing the time, coming back from the injury. Kucherov has been great. But I think the Panthers sneak this one out. This is one of those minus 115 lines at home looking a little sketchy. And I know Tampa very good at home, 10-3-3. Give me the Panthers in the under again. So the theme is the under here. We're going to say 3-2 in overtime. The Panthers get the job done. Devils at home against the Jackets. We've seen the Jackets, like, remember that 9-goal game they had against Toronto, which was crazy. But I think the Devils, as bad as they've been, I think they're going to win this one, and I don't usually like taking them, but I think they'll score a lot against a poor defensive unit in Columbus. So we're going to say Devils. This one will go over 5-2, the Devils over the Jackets. Bruins at Sabres. Bruins have lost a ton of games recently that you expected them to win. But I think they do win this one. The layoff, I think, is big for a veteran team like Boston. This one is going to go under, but I'm going to say the Bruins actually shut out the Sabres on the road here 4-0. This one is actually on TNT. starting at 7:30. You have the Isles hosting the Penguins, so an interesting spot here for the Islanders. They've been the superior team to Pittsburgh this year, but we've seen them collapse in third quarter sometimes. But I don't know. I just, from what I've seen this year and what I've seen of recent, I do think that the Islanders are going to get this one done in front of the home crowd. And again, I think it would be big, given that this is the week between Christmas and New Year's. So a tight one. It's never easy, but I think it's 4-3 in regulation. Barzal, the go-ahead goal in the final minute. Tony's favorite team, the Stars, on the road against the Blues. I know he's going to get a good chuckle out of this, but I am going to go with the Blues here, pulling the upset, the home team, maybe an overlook spot, Tony. So I'm going to say 2-1 in overtime. Thomas, the go-ahead goal there, the game winner. So the Blues with the upset over the Stars. We have the Predators, who I'm forever cursed for. No matter if I pick them, if I pick against them, it just seems to never work out, whatever the reason may be. But I'm going to go with the Hurricanes, and I'm probably going to be wrong, but I'm going to do it anyway. The Hurricanes are hanging in there at 17-13, but I think they're expecting to really, take it up a notch as we approach the second half of the season. I think a tight one, but give me the Hurricanes here, 4-3. So this one's going to go over, but the Hurricanes get not the upset, but the road victory here. Moving along here, Detroit, we've seen them lose some games they're supposed to recently, 16-14 Wild, 15-13-4. I'm going to take Minnesota at home. I think, 9-4-2 at home, which is pretty solid. I'm going to say Kaprizov, who's been a little light on the goals, only 12 up to this point, is going to have 2 goals and an assist, and we are going to say 3-2. So the under and the home team winning here with the Wild. Blackhawks and the Jets. I keep picking the Blackhawks, and they've lost some of these games, these upsets. I mean, Winnipeg, the -225 road favorite, but I don't care. Give me the Blackhawks. Tony's laughing somewhere. Bedard, maybe to the Rangers. Michael sent me the TikTok in the past week about him being upset with the team, the this, the that. But how about the hat trick in front of the home crowd? A sold-out United Center here. We're going over, baby. 5-2, the Blackhawks with the upset over the Jets. A game that's very interesting to me. You got the Coyotes hosting the Avalanche. When I look at this game, I really do, like the Coyotes in this one. I know that comes to a surprise, but Colorado on the road, 500 team, basically under 500 if we're counting overtime losses, 7-7-2. Arizona has really defended home ice in Tempe, 11-5. I would expect Connor Ingram, who's been standout in net for them, seizing really the main tender position from Vejmelka. So I think they get this one done 3-2. Keller, the go-ahead goal in the final minutes. So the under in the underdog home team in the Coyotes. Moving along here, we have the Flames hosting the Kraken, 2 teams that have disappointed this year. It's so tough to pick, but I guess just because they're home, I'll take the Flames. I think a lot of scoring, poor defensive units here. 5.5, that's easy to go over. We're going to say Flames, though, 4-2. Huberdeau head out of his derriere. 2 goals, 2 assists. Flames move to 15-5. The Ducks hosting the Knights. Looking for another upset here, but I'm not going to take it in this game. I think Tony knows what game I'm going to go with here. But I'm going to say the Knights easily win in Anaheim. Eichel, hat trick to get up to 18 goals. We're going to say 6-1. So going with the Knights, the -230 favorites, setting up the game of the night, the Kings. So Tony, jersey in hand against the Sharks here. How about the Kings at home, -360, which is quite the surprise to me. I know it's Kopitar, Tony. I don't care. But give me the Sharks, a juicy money line for sure here. I'm going to see if this is listed, but I'm going to say Hurdle, the game winner in overtime, a tight 2-1 game. going under. And you're getting some pretty good money here. Plus 290 on San Jose. And obviously for a reason, 9-22. But this is awesome. The fact that we have 14 games here in hockey's return, the winter break, Tony. So we are happy for the National Hockey League to return. Of course, focused, on the New York Rangers, focused on the run that we're all earning for. And I really do strongly believe in my heart of hearts, that's what we're going to get. So can't wait to watch, those games. We got the 14 games playing tonight. We'll have 4 tomorrow and then a lot of hockey over the weekend. So, a good time, to be a hockey fan. Michael, you've officially, you were in the jersey the other day. Seems like the Devils are in the wayside.
You didn't even watch the show clearly,
Michael.
But
I don't. The whole thing is what I'm saying though. But wearing the jersey, I think it's an admittance. You could spin it, but I think it's an admittance that the Devils are trash.
I won't go that far, but I will say, it feels good to be as one with you guys.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It feels better.
Yeah, exactly.
Than me being the Devils fan. And if I could ask the chat, how about this? We'll go to the chat.
Yep.
Would I be allowed to transition over?
We allow anything here. Come on. We know that. And the whole thing is, Michael, you talk about teams and players having their time.
Yeah.
And I think that's.
Well, I don't want to come in, at that time. I feel bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the thing is, though, it's been in the cards. And at this point, there's no resistance. What are we resisting?
Look at Matthew saying yes, Michael.
Yeah, Michael. And what I think we missed a lot of comments. What else we got here?
Oh man. Okay. Whoa. Tony's on like cocaine.
Yeah, I think right there, right?
Never wasted talk.
Yep.
NBA is fun. Josh says. Yes, I'm moving with Matt Ryan. Leafs are gonna lose. Telling you, Toronto falling apart. Yes, Panthers. Devils are a go. Sabres upset. Isles beat the Pens. Go New York. Go New York. Go. Stars easy. Stop it. Canes. Red Wings heating up. Take Detroit. Go Jets. Is that not like Tony's tone too?
Yeah, and just a chirp. At the end of the day,
he loves
chirp,
it. He loves to get under your skin.
No justification, no reason for it. Not even showing
TikTok.
up. He thinks he's all that.
And then Matthew comes in. I love how we love hockey. It's sick.
Love it. Michael.
Josh says the hat tricks.
Hat tricks galore though. Well rested teams, right?
Yes.
Michael? That's when you usually see it.
That's when you see it. See it up, Tony. Staying awake for the game? ? LOL. I don't think so. He's a little sleepy, like baby now.
Could you? What would you say consumption wise, Tony? The long weekend, the holidays.
He didn't watch any. The only thing he watched was when his dad was watching something.
I'm not saying consumption of games. I'm saying Kentucky.
Oh, alcohol.
He's gonna be hungover for the next week.
No, well, he's gonna comment. Barnes, how dare you? I'm never hungover because I'm the best.
Dude, we're around family. Like, come on. Like, yeah, I'm having some drinks. Like, like a little of this, a little of that. But the way you talk about it, like, why are you talking about it like that?
Yeah, no, it's of course he's gonna say in Connecticut this, Connecticut that.
Oh my God.
Give me the Kings. Yes, Michael. Come to the blue side, baby. It's destiny. Bet the mortgage. You can also transition to anything, everything. Didn't you know that? No, Mike.
Stop.
Tony says. Then Matthew says, Anthony. And then Josh says, of course you can be a Rangers fan. Open arms welcome from Josh. That's nice to hear.
Yeah,
there's a lot of traffic. Look in the mirror, Brian. Tony, are you hammered? Have you spiked eggnog? Spike it.
Wow.
He definitely was feeling like loose this weekend.
Oh my God. I mean, it's just like the food what else does he want?
Nothing.
Right? I mean, it's just
he didn't have to leave home to go to the cousins like the normal years.
He can talk about now. He can come back and talk about how great New York is and how
he's gonna come with the bagels and make the sandwiches and then rub it in your face after a week later that it's the best.
I told several different people actually over the last couple of days about how good the bagels were.
It's ridiculous.
How I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
So it's unbelievable.
It really is.
At the end of the day, Michael. And it really one thing though that I have to say that it surprised me. All this stuff going on, is to what the stalwart is in Major League Baseball, and I feel like we've seen this, over the past couple of years, but you get some high ticket, players off the board. And then where are you? There's a lot of guys still left and some high ticket guys as well. But of course, Yamamoto, Ohtani. And I'm kind of interested, Michael,
Yes.
where you are with this, because I didn't really get to talk about this. Like, it was getting me tight, like the Rams game, and just are we a little oversaturated with Ohtani? Not to take away from anything that he does, but are we a little oversaturated?
Tony's the freaking front man on him. He's not gonna he hasn't done anything.
That's what Tony says?
Yeah.
Oh, he hasn't said that though when we've talked about it.
Oh, he's saying that he's got to prove himself basically in the playoffs. Like this guy, I forgot who said it.
Dog, I think too.
Yes, Dog was the guy that he said it heavy. That he's got to prove it. He's never pitched an important game. He's never been in an important game, and not to mention he's not pitching next season. And who knows? He may never pitch again.
Yeah. And it's funny too. Like, he thinks he's all smart getting his buddy Yamamoto over to the Dodgers, but he's the idiot that's chilling on $680 million for 10 years when inflation and stuff. He's really losing money by not getting that money up front. And I know he wanted to bring Yamamoto in, but I just feel like you're making that big of a sacrifice, and I don't know if you're really guaranteed anything. Not to say that the Dodgers aren't going to be great, but we've seen, Michael, especially with what we've had to deal with the Yankees. The postseason is so unpredictable. I mean, the regular season guarantees you nothing. Is that not a huge sacrifice on his end to do that?
You know what? Speaking of sacrifices, boys, we got to play softball. Get the team constructed. Here we go. Playing Fairfield. How are you? So, speaking of sacrifices, what would you say? That's like a game a week or something?
There's leagues,
or other weeks?
No, like maybe 1 day a week doubleheader. We've had that
1 day a week.
2 games, but not always 2 games. Sometimes it might just be.
It
one
would be
game.
sick if we could get Josh and the boys also to be on that team. Because if it was like once a month or once every other week,
it's just gonna be once a week, and then obviously the whole thing is like, where's the middle ground? Everyone can go.
I know.
We basically need Josh to
move.
To move.
Yeah,
exactly. But it would be nice if we could figure something out. We'll have to see. But I always really enjoyed playing softball. That's for sure. But yeah, I just think with the Ohtani stuff, it's a shame. It's almost like the DeVito coverage, like where the media ruins it. It's not the players' fault themselves. But what are we supposed to do? It's just like in our face 24/7.
Josh says, tell that to my wife. Josh, you know what'll happen? That video I sent you where it says like men in marriage, and it's just like 2 Asian dudes and one dude's just constantly kicking another dude in the nuts. So that's what would happen, I think, if you told her you signed up for a league once a week in Fairfield.
Yeah. Stanford Middle Grounds?
That'd be dope.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I always okay, yeah, he's probably still though, like I think an hour and a half or so. So it's just it's
tough. I know.
Tough, but we want to put together. We'll figure out.
The bigger we get, then we could provide jobs and force him to move.
Yeah, exactly. So you would think, especially after the new year and as we get closer and closer to spring training, that some moves will drop. I mean, Yankees made a marginal trade yesterday. And again, an example of not capitalizing on value, unfortunately. Estevan Florial had been in the organization since he was 16, traded for Cody Morris, journeyman pitcher. Florial running out of options, already had been designated for assignment, so I guess at least they get something. And the hope is Morris coming over from the Guardians, I believe he's 27 years old, not really much of a track record, but Matt Blake can turn him into something. So I guess rather than cutting him, they get something. But at one time, he was the Jason Dominguez of the Yankees. So speaking of that, though, I am so pumped for when Dominguez comes back. It's not even funny that outfield of Dominguez, Soto, and Judge will be the best that I've ever seen the Yankees have, especially since the heyday. And I think they have the potential to be the best that I've ever seen, just from a pure talent perspective. We know they have to back that up. But just what an exciting time here. And I can't wait to see how they round out this offseason, and also too what they do with the lineup. There's been a lot of talk about, you still want LeMahieu at leadoff. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think you just try Volpe up there. You give him a month or two, and if it doesn't work, then we move him down. But I like the idea. Volpe at the top, the speed, and then, followed by, Soto and Judge. And I know there's been some talk about how Soto needs to hit third, but I just have a feeling if you're Juan Soto, you don't want to have Aaron Judge hitting behind you. I mean, how could there be a better spot? You really want to bat third and then Giancarlo Stanton's behind you, and then everybody's thinking, geez, what's he going to hit 180 again? So that would be my move there. But I just can't wait. I know we're a little ways away, but we'll keep an eye on baseball, of course. But yeah, it's an exciting time for sure. Obviously, we'll talk about the Thursday night football game tomorrow with Tony back in town, recapping the Rangers win, as well. And then before we know it, the West Coast swing will begin in golf. We'll be off to Hawaii, to get the year started. Century Tournament of Champions.
Oh, Thorne said he's got his tickets for that.
Oh, let's go. Thorne. But yeah, it seems like it's been forever since we've had some golf coverage. And then really the way that time goes on, really, it's going to be Augusta before we know it, Michael.
Or how pumped?
Really, I really can't wait. I mean, it's just because it's just so. When
I'll
you
see
get
you at the stadium
we
today,
talk about being oversaturated with Ohtani, and it's like Augusta is the exact opposite. You know what I mean? It's once a year. It's a limited field, one of the smallest fields ever at Augusta National this year. The storyline of John Rahm, looking to go back to back, one on the PGA, one with Liv, and the fact too that Phil last year was not taken seriously, and he finished second. It's just going to be a great time, and of course, always the return of Tiger Woods, something that we're all earning for. Tiger back to prominence. We really could do this every day.
Literally.
Honestly.
We do.
But Michael, because sometimes I feel like you're joking around. I really need to, in all seriousness, you really believe in Tiger one more time at least.
Dude, breaking the records.
Really? You really
Only
think
for his son to break them.
Really?
I really think it.
Do you think he can play 5 more years at a decently high level? And
Greatest
he's going to limit injuries.
Person ever.
Wow.
He's going to finish as.
And especially when the PGA Tour
the fall,
needs him.
the fall, they do.
Losing Rahm. Will Scotty Scheffler be out the door next? You know what I mean? You don't know. Hopefully the merger gets done. So exciting stuff in sports as we head into 2024. And a couple comments here, Michael, on the way out.
New York City. He's an hour from New York City. Barnes, I'm kind of tight about Florio. They botched it with him. The Sirens, Tony says, they never let Florio have a real chance. Wasted youth.
I agree with everything they just said. No roster spot for him. No room on the 40. So I guess you just hope that this Cody Morris guy can give him something out of the bullpen and work with Matt Blake. So at least we did designate him for assignment last year. Luckily, no one claimed him. So at least I guess we get something. But of course, I agree with you guys. And I know sometimes it's a little biased, but him and Andujar stand out to me as two guys that if they had just stuck with them, given them more playing time, that they would have figured something out. Especially Andujar. And I know he's still playing. I know the results are mediocre, but you don't have a magical season like that, and then that's it. I don't know. I just still think there's something there. We'll probably never see it. But it is a shame. And I think moving forward, we're going to see more value used out of these prospects and more guys given chances. Like what we saw with Anthony Volpe this year. I think Austin Wells all season. And I know he's not going to play 80% of the games or anything, but he's going to get a lot of at bats and hopefully hit a lot of home runs in that short porch. 2 more comments, Michael.
Yep. 2 more. And the last 2. Yeah, totally Barnes and Duhar, man.
Yeah. Tough. You don't remember him, do you? It was
Miguel Andujar.
You really do remember?
Of course.
No, why are you cheesing though?
Because that name constantly from freaking 98.7.
Okay. All right. We'll give you that. Yeah. So that's
Miguel Andujar.
John Sterling used to have fun with that one. And also too, coming up, by the way, and I'm sure, guess what? On Friday, we'll touch on it quickly. Tony will be pissed. Bowling, yes, we're due for more bowling.
I thought you guys were. No, I could be wrong.
I don't think we have anything pen to paper, but definitely ready for some more bowling. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, we'll have the semifinal for college football. I know, like I said, I know Tony's pissed, but we're definitely going to cover that a little bit.
Yeah, you got it.
I've been watching a couple of the bowl games. Yankee Stadium is going to host Rutgers in Miami on Thursday, which also is tomorrow, which is kind of crazy. Went to the game last year, Syracuse in Minnesota. So yeah, we'll talk about that as well. So a lot going on, a lot to discuss. Josh B saying, I still don't see them doing it. Great show, family. We appreciate.
And I think that's a good. No. I'm saying last comment.
Last comment, Michael.
You can say it.
No. But we appreciate everybody tuning in today and continuing to comment, like, and subscribe. All of the archives on the YouTube page, Tony, Michael, Renee, and Jay in costume. Merch at downtimetv.com. We want everybody to enjoy the day, enjoy the games. Let's go Rangers, and we will see you mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do.